What's up, everybody? This is Nanocast, a podcast all about the cryptocurrency Nano. Nano's fast, feeless, scalable, led by a driven team, and it's inspired many people to participate in the development of its apps and services. And on this podcast, you get to meet some of those people. I'm your host, Sean, and I fumble through the questions and teach you all about Nano. Before we get started, I wanted to tell you about one of our sponsors, which is BrainBlocks. BrainBlocks just made this awesome thing called Pod. It's a plug-and-play node for the Nano network, and I just got one in the mail like a half hour ago, and I'm super excited about it. This is what it looks like. It's about that big, and it's like a souped-up Raspberry Pi. Basically, you plug this into your router and get it set up, and you'll be able to host a node for the Nano network. It is low-powered. It doesn't take a ton of your internet bandwidth away, and supposedly easy to set up. I'll let you know that tomorrow. And it's a great way to help decentralize the network. So, now, to the interview. We've got Jeff Kilroy here. Jeff Kilroy, I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about yourself. And thanks for being on.
Sean? Happy to be on. I'm a full-time freelance web developer from New Jersey, mainly dealing with PHP and web applications. I do that full-time, and whenever I can find the time to do so, I build fun nano projects.
How did you first become interested in Nano?
I think I got into it around the same time that a lot of people kind of share the same experience, maybe around November of last year, when it was just constantly being shelled on Reddit, and just kind of caught my eye. At the time, I was trying to do research on as much stuff as I could, and that ended up piquing my interest. And once I got to a point where I could actually do some stuff with it, like using BrainBlocks, it definitely opened the door where I could do more and more, and then actually use it in the stuff I was developing.
Had you been involved with any other cryptos on the development level in the past?
No, not really. I've looked into certain things like working directly on Bitcoin's blockchain or something like that, and messing around with Ethereum using Solidity, and it all just kind of seemed way past what I would prefer to try and be learning. There were certain interfaces where you could bring them into web applications you were making, but it all just seemed way too overcomplicated for what I wanted to do.
And so with Nano, what was the difference then? Why was that more easy?
Well, the first thing I actually built using Nano was it implemented BrainBlocks. And it was sort of like it was called Wall of Nano. It's sort of like a $1 million homepage, homage to something like that, where you could purchase these little blocks on the site and just put your ad there. And I think the coolest thing was while I was testing it out, just being able to go into my wallet and refund what I was just testing instantly was huge. Whereas I'm used to working with PayPal or Stripe or Authorize.net, where if I take an actual payment, I have to void it. I have to deal with all this other stuff, and maybe I'm getting hit with a fee regardless. And even with Bitcoin, if I were to try and do something like that, it's just not possible to test it out on the live chain and then just be able to quickly refund it to another wallet. It's just not possible.
Right.
So I think that was the first thing I played around with it, and it really let me see how easy to use and how easy it was to develop certain applications that use Nano.
So in a lot of ways, you were able to employ what you already knew. You didn't have to learn like Solidity,
right?
And then use existing tools that had already been made for Nano.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Integrate that right in.
Exactly. There was no need for me to. I mean, I could if I wanted to, but I didn't need to set up a node or anything like that. This was all stuff that I wanted to learn later on. But just for taking payments, it was just a matter of, hey, there's this thing that's already out there. Let me try and implement it into my website and, go from there. I can just build the application around it.
So would you say, just from your perspective, does that open up a lot of opportunities for others to build on Nano that in ways you can't build on other coins?
Yeah, exactly. I think it offers a lot, especially like what I was saying in terms of being able to develop right onto the chain. Again, even if I wanted to look into the node a little bit more and how to mess with those RPC calls, to actually, without using brain blocks or something like that, just being able to make those transactions, refund them, play around with them, send them to different accounts, and there's no fees. It's instant, yada yada yada. It makes it really, really easy for any developers to just jump into it and start messing around.
So far, what kind of stuff have you built around it?
The couple of the larger, or I guess the larger thing that is a little more known is Nanote, which still implements brain blocks. But what it does is it sort of gives you a hosted payment page. One of the things that I wasn't really happy with that I would see in YouTube videos or certain Reddit posts or anything like that is at the bottom of every post you would always see all these addresses, a Bitcoin address, here's my Nano address, and it just came to me as I don't know, maybe unprofessional, but more so just it seems like, hey, just send me money here and I don't care who it's coming from or why you're giving me money. And that's something that if I were to receive money myself, I wouldn't want to know why am I getting money? Why is someone tipping me? Why, what do they like about this? And then even on the other side, if I'm going to give someone money as a tip or whatever, I kind of want to let them know like, hey, it's, this isn't just going to be my money going into a wallet that they may or may not ever see and know who it comes from. So I built Nanote to sort of give you an easy page that's posted elsewhere. You don't have to integrate anything. You can just, let the user fill out, hey, this is my name, my email address if I wanted to, and here's a message. This is why I'm sending you, to Nano or something like that. Okay. So just a really simple way to just send money or send a tip or something to somebody else.
And if somebody wants to experiment with that, they can head over to nanocast.co/donate.
Yes,
and they'll be taken
to
they'll be taken to a Nanote page where you can donate to Nanocast. Not that you need to or that I want you to. I don't need your money, but you should go do it. And what are some other ideas you have for expanding Nanote?
One of the other projects that I've kind of been working on off and on, and I have a sign up there now and people have been pestering me a little bit about, is a project called NanoRPG. And this is something that I think I started before Nanote, but then ended up pausing and then working on Nanote because I thought it would be a little quicker to finish, and then have been jumping back and forth between the two now. But NanoRPG is a text-based adventure game, I guess, where you can create a character. Everything follows very similar rules and ideas from something like a tabletop RPG like Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder, where you have stats for your character, a health bar, items, inventory stuff. And what you do is you kind of just go around this town of there's a bunch of different references to nano and just crypto in general. I think the town that you're mainly doing everything in is called Bitmore. There's a bunch of names from top people in the nano community as well as different characters in the game. So there's a little bit of a fun aspect in the storyline that has to do with nano and crypto. But then also I'm integrating a lot of the inventory in the shops to deal with nano as well. So if you wanted a certain type of sword or certain potions, you could buy those using nano directly. Because one of the things I thought about right after I was starting to work with that Wall of Nano site is I could easily see how well nano can be introduced into games, because you can do whatever amount of nano you want. It's instant, and there's no fee on either end, on the client end or the owner of the application. So I can make all of these items individually purchasable with nano, and it's very easy to do. So that's something that's kind of been an on and off project. There's a lot of I want to do with that, and it seems like every time I get back into it, I find more and more stuff that I need to do. So, I know I've had a couple people asking me about that. One of the things I want to do, though, is I'm trying to make a deadline for myself to at least get the registrations up. Right now, I think it's just a MailChimp email, newsletter thing, and I've been individually sending out registrations. So I want to make sure that by at least the end of the month, I have registrations open so people can at least start to go around and play with it on their own, because that's when I get the most feedback, is when people are going in there and messing with it.
Yeah, so I'll say that I went in and I messed around for a little bit with it. I haven't had a ton of time to invest into it, but the little bit I did play around with it, it was fun, and
awesome.
And it was, I don't know, it was almost kind of like it's an RPG, so it's just a fun little storyline game to play around, and there's something special about it being all nano themed and using nano.
Right. Yeah. And that's one of the other things too, as far as using nano. Right now I have it kind of set up in a way that I think PvP.me does this same thing, where you deposit a set amount, that you want to kind of store in your balance. What I want to do later on, and this is where it gets a little more tricky, is have each item purchasable individually. So you don't need to kind of top up your balance. It would just be, I want this sword or this armor. You just click it and buy it directly with Nano.
Mm-hmm. Before we go on to the next thing, I wanted to go back, and you talked about how when people were putting like their Nano addresses, at the bottom of Reddit posts, or attached to their project or whatever, it just looked kind of didn't look good. I mean, you could even say it looked sketchy or skeevy or whatever. But that was even like on my YouTube videos for the first season of Nanocast. That was the only option. Nano might have been out, but I didn't realize it. So then I was looking at it and I was like, yeah, this really is kind of ugly. I wish there was something better. And then I found a note. And now I've got this pretty link. So thanks for that. Yeah. So that's exactly the reason why I did it. And it's just easier. It's like, I don't want somebody to have to copy and paste this.
Right. Yeah. And I think it adds a little bit more, personality to it. If someone can go in there and give you a message why they're tipping or donating, I think it just might drive someone to do that a little bit better.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so when we first scheduled this interview, the Nano Center did not exist yet.
Correct.
But since then, it has come to be, and it looks like you're playing a pretty important role there. So what kind of work they got you slaving away at?
Oh man, Andy won't stop bossing me around. It's really sad. I joined it just because I was kind of tired of seeing a lot of people on Reddit just always bumming me out, just making upsetting posts, how they need the developers to do this and that. So then I saw that, hey, we're working on the Nano Center, and this is where you can check it out. So I looked into that, and I just wanted to be able to do something. It didn't really matter what. I liked building these side projects, and that's fun, but there's also people asking for specific things, and there's certain things that the Nano Center itself is trying to do to improve, Nano as a whole. So I started checking that out and just lurking a little bit. And then there was sort of a call for a development for the website, and no one was really saying anything. So I'm like, all right, yeah, I'll do it. And that kind of spiraled into me just taking it head on, and then we built the site, and then we got some fun projects on there.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything coming down the pipeline you want to share? Something nobody knows yet? The big leak.
I don't know if I have a ton of leaks that I can give out. Maybe not that I even really know. There's a couple small things. I'm not sure what I can share, what I can't. So I'm going to hold off on that. What I will say is you can check out a lot of really cool stuff that's in the Discord already. In terms of the esports event that we have, and some of the ads that are running, and just some of the other cool stuff that people are working on. Right now, it's at a point where we're trying to find a good platform to get people to come on, give us ideas, submit, maybe even like a proposal for an idea for something that might be a fundraiser. And then we can start to integrate those pieces on the site. But there's a ton of really active members that are giving ideas, designing things, developing things, just some really cool stuff. So I would just say, go there, lurk around and see if there's anything you can do to help out.
Awesome. All right, so here's $1 million question.
Yes. I don't know how much it's going to be.
No. That would only be a $2 question. The question is, why are you doing it? What is it about Nano and the community that is, firing you up? Because you could be, you're a freelancer. You could be making money somewhere else, but instead you're working on Nano.
I could be. Instead, I'm working on this thing that's not making me money. No, so I think it comes in a couple different parts. For one piece of it, I see it as a really new technology that I think is pretty cool. Just being able to send, money back and forth. There's no fees. It's instant. And then there's the larger part of the community itself that I see a lot of work being done. I see a lot of really cool things that are in the pipeline. And I see a lot of, a good direction that it seems to be going. It seems like there's a lot of promising stuff for Nano in general. And then on top of that, I just like building stuff. So I kind of found this thing that I'm playing around with at the moment, and maybe I'll keep doing more stuff. Maybe I won't. I don't know. But for the moment, I like building sites that integrate with Nano. Yeah, that's it.
Cool. What do you hope to accomplish through it?
I would love to get to a point where I can start to have some of these projects fund me a little bit so I could work on them even more. Because I do like building it more so maybe than, certain jobs I have for other clients. But really just being able to build something that people are using, that the community can use in any way is really, really cool.
Yeah, I noticed, we've talked about how in NanoRPG you can buy items for the RPG. So do you see a future? Well, obviously you can't know, but that would be a really cool way to kind of make some passive income even, so that you could keep
for sure
building stuff for Nano.
Yeah, between that and Nano, I think could potentially, be useful in that regard. I've always been really bad with design and marketing. So I'll usually build something and then just kind of put it up and nobody's going to it because I haven't told anybody about it. I'm like, why isn't this making me any money? So those are some of the things I'm going to try and work on. And like I said, design as well. I've been talking with some designers to try and improve the look of some of the interfaces that I'm making. But yeah, other than that, if I can make money with any of these, it's great. But so far they've just been fun hobby projects.
Yeah. What are some cool projects in the Nano community that you're excited about? That some other people are working on.
PvP.me is really cool. I'm not a sports guy at all, but some of the times when I've gone on there and I've seen people betting on Super Smash Brothers, I think is hilarious and awesome. I think that's great. The Jolt wallet is looking fantastic. Just as I see stuff, I'll kind of mess around with a little bit and just appreciate it, because at the moment it seems like there aren't a ton of developers really in the space, and I think we could use more. So any project that I see that's implementing Nano, whether it's again just using it as a payment platform using Brain Blocks or something, or if it's directly on the Nano chain, I think is really cool.
What do you think needs to happen for Nano to gain adoption?
I think it's going to be inevitable, assuming that we keep on the same path, because we have developers that are building stuff with it. I think it's a matter of time before a large game does implement it. And as more and more people just kind of jump on that, it's just going to be something that happens. I don't know if there's going to be a specific thing that triggers it, rather than just over time more and more applications use it. Because right now there's not really any reason you would want to use anything else other than Nano.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you can make those transactions completely free and instant, then okay, do that.
Right.
So I think it's just a matter of time that we would see that. We're in super early stages of everything. So yeah, it's just kind of waiting.
What do you think for like the average person who has no dev skills? How can they contribute to the project?
I think there's a ton of stuff that they could do. Like I mentioned, I'm really bad with design and marketing. Even just if you're going to an application or website or something and you just don't like the look of it, you know, get in touch with a developer and say, hey, I mocked up, you know, your homepage or your interface, or here's some things you can do. That was, again, one of the things I liked about the Nano Center is there's just everybody coming in there. Doesn't matter if you're a developer, designer, or you just want to help in some other way. There are people in there translating documents into Spanish or other languages. So there's just whatever you're good at, jump in the Nano Center or look at some other people that are doing stuff and just see how you can help them out.
Yeah, so the Nano Center is just a really great tool for connecting everyday people to projects that they can
for sure
that work for them. Where do you see, I mean, if Nano continues to go well and it continues to be a project that you're interested in, and maybe even if you can pay yourself,
right.
where do you see, or what would your dream idea of your role in the Nano ecosystem be?
That's a good question. I kind of like where I'm at. So if I just kept, you know, being able to develop more and more projects that either work with Nano or integrate, you know, into Nano directly, I'd be happy there. Just having more time to do it would be huge.
Oh, sweet. Is there anything that we haven't touched on in this conversation that you wanted to mention or highlight?
Not that necessarily comes to mind. I think the most important thing is just to, you know, find ways to be active. I see a lot of people complaining about the price or, you know, something that the devs are or aren't doing. And really, you just have to look at it as an open source project that we're all kind of partaking in. And if you see something that needs to be done, find a way to get it done.
Sweet. Yeah, I think that in 2017, this kind of idea of entitlement towards, you know, the core teams of all the coins was really fostered, and I'm, you know, like most of us in here, Nano isn't the only holding that I have. It's not the only community I keep up with, and I've seen in all of the communities kind of this, like, it's really starting to turn into more of a community effort. And it's like people starting to realize, oh, this isn't going to take off because it's crypto and that's novel and that's just going to happen. And it's not going to go anywhere if I just sit here and say, hey, what are you doing? How come? Hey, no update. Hey, Dev, where are you?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like, this is only going to happen if I play a role in it.
Correct. Yeah.
And I've seen that happen in some communities, and in other communities, you know, this sense of entitlement hasn't changed. But I think that Nano, somehow, we're getting there, and I think a really organic and healthy way. Yeah. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think it was actually Dave Wimps from the last podcast who said something to I liked it a lot. I can't remember exactly how he worded it, but it was something to the effect of, you know, everyone's going on Reddit saying when wallets, but nobody really needs a wallet. Like, nobody's not getting Nano because there's no official wallet. They're just saying that they want the price to go up because of the announcement of wallets. So I think that has a lot to do with it too. People are asking for certain features that may or may not even be used. It's just sort of, they want something to try and make the price go higher. Whereas we have the people that are active and building things that are going to be used and trying to make the ecosystem better overall.
Yeah, totally. All right. Well, before we go, just one more little plug for Brain Blocks here. You can go buy one of these pods at nanocast.co/pod. That'll let Nano Things know that I sent you, and Brain Blocks will give me some dollars. Again, not that I need your dollars, but if you want to do that, feel free. Otherwise, you can just go to the Nano Center, or not the Nano Center, Nano Things, and find pod and buy one. And tomorrow and the next day, I'll be working on setting that up, and I'll let you all know how it goes. And also, just like in the first season, if you leave a comment on any of these videos, Andy will probably send you a pack of stickers from nanothings.store. So don't forget to leave a comment. I think Jeff might have got some stickers last time.
I did get some stickers, yes.
How'd those work out?
I have them right over there. I haven't gotten to put them on anything yet. I need to find something that'll be cool enough to have the stickers on them. And I don't want to put them on my laptop. So
yeah. So yeah, leave a comment and you'll be entered to win some stickers. So Jeff, thanks again so much for coming on, sharing your ideas, telling us what you're up to. Last word goes to you. What are some words of inspiration for the Nano community at large?
Words of inspiration: just keep building stuff. Find ways to improve the community, the ecosystem altogether, and don't post your donation address. Go to nano.net and get a cool page to get tips for.
Awesome. That's great. Yep. Thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. Make sure you come next week. We're going to be doing an interview with Chrono from Nano Vault. So that'll be fun. So I'll see you guys next week.